go! Good evening. Welcome to the Steel City Huddle podcast. I'm Leanne Lohman, joined as always by my partner, Zach Franciscus. Zach, how are you doing? Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
I did. It was very, very low key, and that's all I wanted. And it was, I didn't think I would be as happy as I was to not have a Steeler game to watch. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of fun when it happens, but the long, like 10.5 days of a loss, if you have to deal with that, no. But overall, it was great. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. It was lovely. I always hate holiday games because I feel like the distraction and the stress of the game take away from my ability to like fully enjoy the holiday. So as shitty as that last game went, all in all, I'm really glad that that wasn't what was on tap for my Thanksgiving day. Do you know what I mean? So we, just to recap real quick, we missed last week's show. Zach and I both had some things going on and missed last week's show where we would have normally have been talking about the loss to the Bears. We then followed that next week up with the very disappointing loss to the Bills, 26-7. We would normally spend a lot of time in the show tonight kind of breaking that loss down, talking about what went right and wrong and things like that. But I think time is better served focusing on like the state of this team is kind of what Zach and I think. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about to start off tonight. And then we'll talk about the Ravens game that's coming up some, at the end of the show and looking forward at the rest of this season, because I mean, this might be the most pivotal Ravens game we've played in a long time. I mean, this is going to be a really big deal. So I think I want to start off tonight by just, look, I know that there's a lot of negativity and frustration out there right now with the fan base, right? Rightfully so. Like, truly, I will never tell somebody else how to be a fan, how to do that. I don't think that that's cool. So I'm never going to do that. So there's a lot of negativity out there. And I definitely get the frustration and understand the frustration. But I was really disappointed to see that two media people in Pittsburgh have now started like rumors about Mike Tomlin and his personal life. I don't even know what the specific rumor was. I refuse to give credence to it, and are talking about like the Steelers are underperforming because Mike Tomlin is distracted. And it immediately made me think of the way a certain group of Pittsburgh fans, probably the ones that live in like Pennsylvania, tried to ruin Cordell Stewart's life when he was on the team. And if you're too young to remember that, there was a media person, a police officer in the city, some other people that started a rumor that Cordell Stewart was gay, which so what if he was, but he wasn't. And it created a lot of issues for him. He was being harassed, he was being threatened, and all of those things. So I was thinking about it tonight that this isn't new, and I'm sure it's not unique to the Steelers. At least I hope it's not. But they did this to Juju Smith-Schuster's mom, sending her death threats. I mean, things like that is just like, I don't know. I'm just not okay with it. Like, this is a sport, and this is somebody's life and their job, right? But Mike Tomlin has a life outside of the game of football, and I hope you do too. Collective you, and the only thing you care about is this team. Like, this is supposed to be fun. And I got on social media and see some of the comments from people, and I think, why do you watch? Like, just don't, like, just go be a fan of some other team. If you're that miserable, why are you here?
That's true. I didn't think that the amount of people that didn't know football would all of a sudden become people that didn't know football and now watch the Dallas Cowboys consistently. Because the amount of people that are out there trying to stand in a soapbox with George Pickens is the worst trade in NFL history on it genuinely does not understand that it's not a trade A to B. It's an apple and oranges thing. It's two very different situations. I mean, that we could spend 2 shows on why that whole thing is there. But you're right. The amount of negativity and people that I genuinely feel would not be happy if the Steelers were winning. I genuinely feel that if the Steelers were winning, they would feel like there was something. Everyone knows that person. You've had them in their job or something who, when things are going quiet, they just have to cause some drama. And that's just happening all over the fan base.
Right. And you know, it's you're exactly right, and I think that that's a big part of it. I think that there's some people who are just want to be negative. They need to be negative. Maybe they're just, we know some of those people, Zach, that just are negative in their core, and they can't, you know, they can't do anything else. And again, in no way am I saying that fans don't have a right to be frustrated. I 100% think you do. I am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm never going to be frustrated at the point where I'm hoping to ruin somebody's life. Like,
No.
Mike Tomlin was drunk on the sidelines. Like, I don't want to ruin some other human being's life. Like, it's just not.
No.
No, I just don't get it. And I also think too that like this narrative about like how fans should have inside access to like those conversations that happen behind closed doors between like Tomlin and the players, or the Rooneys and Tomlin, are absurd. I always tell people, like, think about it in terms of your job, right? So if you screwed up at your job at work, would you want your boss to go on social media or do a press conference and talk about like how Zach screwed up at work and all the things he did wrong, and what punishments, you know, or consequences you doled out for that? I mean, that's ridiculous when you think of it that way. That's ridiculous, but that's what they're asking. And as for George Pickens, it is impossible to say that a trade is either a boom or a bust quickly. Like, that's impossible, because there is always a honeymoon period with something. Do you know what I mean? And we all loved Pickens too in the beginning. And I don't think anybody's denying the amount of talent that that young man has. But that doesn't mean that he was a good fit in Pittsburgh, or that doesn't mean that he would be blowing the roof off, or we'd be doing something different. You know what I mean? If he were with us, I mean, maybe, do you know what I mean? But there's nothing to show us that that's what it is.
It wouldn't. Honestly, the amount of film I've watched and the amount of people that also agree with me on this, there's open receivers and open players all over the field throughout games. It's not the fact that, it's the fact that we don't have a quarterback who can see it at the moment, because I don't know what is going on. We don't have an offensive line that can block consistently, and it comes down to we're not scheming things up well.
Right.
I mean, the schemes alone we could talk about. So people are saying, oh, well, it's because we don't have a real wide receiver too, and that would have picked it. No, we still would have just had two players who weren't getting the ball enough.
Right.
So
right.
I have nothing against Pickens. Nothing. I'm glad he's balling out. He seems to be having a blast, and I genuinely wish that. So
like the kid. Like, I want him to be successful. I wanted him to be successful in Pittsburgh, right? But he wasn't. And I think that that's just the reality of life, right? Like, sometimes people are better fits with other teams. I mean, look at Mac Jones, look at Baker Mayfield, right? Like, it doesn't mean that the Browns necessarily, well, they probably did screw that up, but it doesn't always mean that that other team screwed things up. Maybe the circumstances, like, look at Mac Jones and the Patriots, right? You're coming in, you're replacing Tom Brady, you're a rookie, the team is in shambles, you get thrown to the wolves right away, you're not successful, you don't have the weapons, do you know what I mean? All the things you need to be successful. And then, you know, you get cut loose and you bounce around a little bit, and then you get an opportunity in another city, and it's a better fit, it's a better team, and he looks like a whole different player. So to me, it's not necessarily that the Patriots made a huge mistake letting him go, right? Maybe they would have never found success with him. So Alex says, guys, the wide receiver class is horrible. The quarterback is horrible. Next week, I'll say they're great. I'm so nervous. I post online all the time. Boo, I hate the George Pickens trade. We suck. Yeah, bring back Colbert. Wow, look, nobody wants to bring back Colbert. Now, don't get crazy. But what I do want to hear from you guys is kind of like what your thoughts are, Zach, the people watching. Like, what are your thoughts about where this team is right now? And look, if you think the issue is Tomlin, I think that's fair. But like, let's talk constructively, like big picture about the actual team in football, and like not him as a human being.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And
so what do you think? What do you think is our issue right now?
Well, big picture right now, there's just a lot of problems that most teams solve by this point that are all still rearing their heads, like scheming, not knowing how to use different personnel, defensive players not being on the same side. It's just a lot. And the frustrating thing is we can't get out of our own way in all of this. And if you look at it from a big picture, because that's what we want to do, weirdly enough, it's not, when you pull and look at it from afar away, it's not that bad. It really, really isn't, as you start to get close to the picture, because if there was any year that this kind of awful football on the field had to happen, let it be in a year where the Ravens are incredibly beatable. And because if our offense would have been mildly competent,
right,
we would have taken it to the Bills. Our defense did everything they could for the longest time, and then the defense had 2 8-minute drives against them. They were exhausted. So the pieces are there, but who was it? It was Mueller or someone was on there posting that he doesn't think the Steelers have had a complete game this season, and I agree. So there's good things here and there and splashes, but when I look at the season from big picture, but also the games, I don't just look at what the score is or how far there is to come back. I look at what they've shown me up to that point, and can that team come back? Can that team win? And that's where I'm worried, because this particular team looks tired on offense and looks frustrated to the point of making mistakes on defense.
To me, they look so disjointed. Like, it's almost like the Steelers think they've got like 5 extra weeks in the season, so they're not in a hurry or something. I don't get it. I agree with you. I expected some of that stuff in the beginning of the season, but now we're at the point where you feel like we should be finding a rhythm, right? And I felt like, when we were won those couple of games, and they talked about like simplifying that defense, right? And getting everybody on the same page, and we won those games. To me, I thought we were like, okay, we're headed in the right direction. Like, this makes sense, right? Start off easy, going to build on that, you know what I mean, as we're successful. They were talking about making adjustments based on which team you're playing and all of those things. Mm-hmm. But to me, none of those things seem to be happening in the past 2 losses. Like, those were very winnable games. Like, I really felt like through the first, and look, the defense was not perfect in that game against the Bills, right? And I couldn't tell, was like the issue Aaron Rodgers' hand? Like, was that bothering him that much that he was having, like, was that really impacting him? Do you know what I mean? Like, in that first half. And then, Mason came in and Masoned it up. So I don't know. I just feel like they're not making those adjustments and changes that they need to make as we go along. Relic says, Roger said it. Our problem is people showing up for film class, but not on the field. We're worried about quarterbacks kneeing Cam in the tum-tum rather than stopping the run. And I could not agree more. Like, I love Cam. I felt like that nonsense with Josh Allen in that game was such a distraction that it continued on and on and on. To me, was ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like, Cam could squash Josh Allen, like, with his fist, like, you know what I mean, into the ground, like whack-a-mole style, if you wanted to. So, like, why are you wasting energy continuing to bicker with this guy? Like, to me, if you're losing the game, you need to shut your damn mouth and focus that energy into winning, because you just look like a fool talking shit when you're losing the game.
Exactly. And you can put as much talent as you want on a football team, but if you don't have the coaches in place, and this is not a Mike Tomlin tangent, but we just the coaches are failing these players consistently. And what I learned this week, and maybe everyone else knows this, I didn't know that offensive players like quarterbacks calling their own plays at the line of scrimmage, that happens all the time. Defensively does not happen a lot. Almost, I saw the Dolphins were saying that their headsets went out in the end of their game. One of their defensive players called the play that Minka got the pick on and all that. That does not happen on defense, and the Bills ran the same play 29 times against us before we adjusted our defensive scheme. That's not a player thing. You can only do so much from the position that coaches are putting you in, and that's infuriating. I was trying to think about some kind of comment or something. It just makes me so angry.
Yeah.
It really does, because we're getting back to the point where I should not know better than an NFL coordinator. But then again, I follow it to the end of the thing where I'm like, okay, well, if the end result of me complaining about that is that I want them fired, there's no one better to replace them, so I'm just going to not say anything about this particular subject.
I do feel like that's a huge part of the issue, and I've gone round and round with this with people in the past. And I mean, look, it's no secret that, like, I'm a Tomlin fan, right? But do I also feel frustrated with him? Do I feel like at times like he's lost some direction with this team? Do you know what I mean? Like, I do feel like there's room for improvement there with him. That doesn't necessarily mean he needs to be fired. You know what I mean? Maybe it's an adjustment in how we're doing things. And that's something that Omar Khan needs to work on with him, or the Rooneys need to work on with him, or whatever. Or maybe it does mean that, his time in Pittsburgh is just up. But we are the only NFL franchise to have 3 consecutive coaches win Super Bowls. The only team.
Yep.
And I can promise you that, I've lived a lot of places that the constant firing and hiring of new coaches is not the path that gets you to a Super Bowl. And don't talk to me about Gruden and the Super Bowl ready team that he was handed to win down in Tampa. Yep. That is an apples to oranges comparison right there. Do you know what I mean? That would have been handing Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick's prime Patriots team with Brady and Gronkowski and everybody else, right? I mean, I could have gone out there and coached that team to win a Super Bowl. So, Relic wants to know if he can jump on and join us for 5 minutes. Send him an invite.
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to do that in the middle of the show.
Oh no, you're good.
So, I think that I'm curious to hear what people think. Like, if you do really think Tomlin is the Tomlin leaving the team is the solution, are you just at the point where you're so fed up where you're like, I just don't give a shit who coaches? Like, because who's going to step up and be our interim head coach? Certainly not Arthur Smith. Like, just because you've done something doesn't mean you should do something.
That is true. Now, the truth is, if you say that Mike Tomlin is gonna go, sure, but a big argument I've heard against that is, but he's going to get a job in a second. We're going to help another team out. My argument to that is, who the fuck cares? That's another team.
Right.
Number 2, we are objectively a really attractive landing spot for a coach. We have great ownership. We have an incredible fan base. Yep. You're not going to get the Mike Tomlin power right off the bat, but you're pretty much getting a great defense. Right. By the way, Relic, I emailed you the thing. Yeah. So if that does happen, and I think as long as it happens within an off season and not in a knee-jerk way that everyone wants this to happen, it'll be okay. But the truth is we're not going to have any problem finding a legitimate person to come in, but I just don't believe we're there yet.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Vicky says, she feels like Tomlin gets a little short-sighted sometimes because he's focused on managing relationships among his coaching staff instead of keeping people accountable. I think that's a really interesting take on it. I don't necessarily disagree. I do believe his focus is often on relationships, and I think sometimes that's a really good thing. But I don't know. I don't know if I feel like he doesn't hold people accountable, because I just don't think we're privy to that to know whether he does or doesn't.
That's it. I the big thing with Mike Tomlin takes any error in coaching or all that very personal, and that's why the Mike Canada thing went on for as long as it did, because it was all on him. When he fired him, he came out and said, "It's all on me." Yeah. This is very, very personal, and while there is some positive, that this is one of the negatives where he's just going to hold on to things because he doesn't want to say, "Okay, I really messed up on this."
Yeah. Nathan made some really good comments. Nathan, we're going to come back to him. I got him starred, but let's bring Relic in for just a minute.
Absolutely. It's a Relic.
What, dude?
Hey, guys. Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for taking time out of writing book number 2 to come chat with us.
Yeah, no worries.
So the Bills, in general, there's frustration and all that, but is there anything specific that made that particular game like a linchpin for you that like is setting something up that wasn't there before?
Linchpin? I don't know. First I'd like to say congratulations to the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they came in, they stood on business, and they did what they were supposed to do, even with 2 starting tackles out.
Our defense not bully the shit out of that offensive line. They were missing like a guard and a tackle, like the whole side of the line.
Right? I think you guys were talking about like what's going on. I think it all starts with our 180 million dollar defense that it's at this point it's obvious. 1 week we can stop the run, the next week we can't.
Yeah.
1 week we can stop a team, the next week we can't. And it's honestly embarrassing. Like, y'all are NFL players and you're playing like high schoolers. You got I know we had a few people out. We've talked on the show before. Darius Slay, see ya, buddy.
Right.
Yep.
He obviously checked out. Cam Hayward's over here worried about being kneed in the stomach by, Josh Allen. TJ Watt, love you, bro, but you're not doing anything. I understand you're getting chipped.
That was by far the worst game of his, maybe of his career. It was.
They
He was
ran right
missing
at him.
tackles. He was missing tackles ever. I think we're at a point where we got to in the last couple of games of last season where the players are so incredibly frustrated by the scheme that they're starting to kind of play their own ball a little bit. I'm seeing it from Queen.
Crappy road we were on last year. We're just.
I'm worried.
I mean, I'm a little bit worried about that.
I'll say this. I'll handle it better. Relic, how will you handle it? Because I am a very big picture guy. So if we start going down that, I'll sit there. I'm like, okay, where's our draft pick? Let's start moving I'll just shift my perspective. A lot of people will lose their shit. If we lose out, let's say we lose out, we do not win another game this season. That's a top 10 pick. How will you react to that?
If we lose out, you have to say it like Mike Tomlin. It might be time because this was your team this year. You brought in Aaron Rodgers. You brought in DK Metcalf. You decided you didn't want to work with Pickens anymore. At some point, you have to be like, it ain't working. And if we make the playoffs, you could still make an argument that if we lose one game, if we lose a playoff game, well, what the hell changed?
Right.
But if we don't even make the playoffs, I'm sorry. This was you brought in Rodgers, you brought in, DK, you brought in Ramsey. That's a bad look because this was your executive decision.
Right.
Now the DK,
you brought up something about the way it's whatever you said, embarrassing or whatever, right? With the losses like this. And here's my thing is that look, there's upsets in the NFL all the time, right? Like somebody just beat the Rams, the Panthers just beat the Rams, right? The crappy Bengals just beat the Ravens. And, everybody's talking about the Ravens are ascending, right? They're doing so much better. And you did see them start really struggling, right? And built on that, and they improved every week and they got better, and then they stumbled and lost to the Bengals. That's frustrating. I'd be irritated if I was a Ravens fan, but I'm not as angry about that as I am about this, because this to me feels like we're you take 2 steps forward and then we take 10 steps back. Do you know what I mean? And then you win a game and you get excited because we'll go out this week and beat the Ravens and everybody will be excited and happy, right? But then you'll turn around and lose to the Browns or something. You know what I mean? It's just it's so frustrating. It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like we can't find any continuity. Whatever was working for us, I said that a minute ago. We talked about that simplified defense and how it was working. Then all of a sudden it doesn't seem like we're doing that anymore.
Well, I mean, go back. I'm sure Zach did this 5 times. Go back and watch the tape of how we played against them. We played nickel most of the game.
Yeah.
And we suck in nickel. Yeah.
So why don't you change it? Why don't you change it?
It took 29 plays to change.
Right.
In the first quarter. You heard, what is it? Not Chris Collinsworth, the other guy, Tony Romo. You heard Tony Romo say on the broadcast at least 6 times, they're just running the same play.
Yes.
They're running right at you and you're not stopping it.
Right.
And I think that plays right back into it, because in my belief, Tomlin issues will immediately bleed down to the both coordinators. So if Tomlin has an issue, it's going to be in both the coordinators. And Tomlin's issue, whether it comes to personnel or any plays or schemes that he has a part in, he's calling them for a team he wants and not the team he has. He's calling them for Darius Slay. He called all of that based on the Darius Slay he thought he was going to get and banked a lot that I'm going to get that, and he didn't get that. Same thing happened with Cordell Patterson. Same thing happened with Patrick Peterson. So, these people who I love Adam Thielen. I am that just makes my heart happy in general. All that, but I'm worried about it because I think Mike Tomlin's going to see that and say, 35, we can get 28-year-old play out of you, and you probably can't. So
I feel bad for him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's
I
bleeding
was real
into
surprised because I edited an article today about how Thielen just wants to go to a team where he could possibly win his Super Bowl, and then like 2 minutes later, I see he's in Pittsburgh. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here, buddy? Did you take a wrong turn on the turnpike? I don't know why you're here. But since you brought that up, let me bring up Nathan's one comment because it plays right to that. The Steelers are drafting better, Loki, but the Steelers signed too many veterans and players past their prime or overpay players. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure relative to their performance, we're overpaying players, but I think the past their prime part is interesting. I'm curious what you two think. Do you feel like that's something that we've gotten into? I do agree we're drafting better without Colbert. Like I feel like Omar Khan's drafts have been better. I think would be hard to argue, but do you feel like we're focusing on signing too many players that are past their prime?
I think we're. Yep. Oh, are you asking me or Zach?
Both of you.
You started talking first.
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Well,
Zach, go. Somebody go.
Yeah, I think this has been happening more frequently, and I think it's another thing where it worked once for Tomlin, and now he wants to keep recreating that. And D'Angelo Williams is a great guy that I can remember where we picked him up and it worked for a little bit. And it was a fun duo. And he was like, I want that with every player I bring in. Because D'Angelo Williams was past his prime. Yeah. A lot of people said that. He was well past it. And he came in at a nice little set. Yeah, I pink hair. I think pink hair every time I think D'Angelo.
Argue that Aaron Rodgers has been somewhat of a success, right? Like I think even though we aren't getting the results we want, I think most fans would agree that this has been potentially better than you expected. At least for me. I won't speak to other people. I know we're not getting the results we want, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people thought it was going to be given what we saw while he was at the Jets.
No.
True.
It's you can see it's not Aaron.
Right.
I mean, there was a play.
Well, it was a little bit.
There was a play on Sunday. Well, I believe it was the 4th and 2 on the goal line, I believe, where it came. The call for the play came in, and you could see Aaron Rodgers' face, like, what are we doing?
Yep.
And it was to run. I believe it was in shotgun.
Yep.
Right into. And I mean, if you rewind the play and you slow-mo it, there was a lane opening up to the left. And instead we run straight.
I saw that.
And
it's the
saw
schemes
Rodgers,
are
You saw Aaron Rodgers audibly and physically after the play. He kind of put his head up, rolled his eyes, and was like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
And
there's a lot of frustration like that, not just with Aaron Rodgers. Well, actually, no. I think Aaron Rodgers expected more stability in this team. Maybe a little more cohesion with everyone. Maybe because people aren't on the same page a lot. And Aaron Rodgers, very similar to Tom Brady, is a perfectionist. Little things matter to him, and those little things are not being followed through on. And maybe he's becoming disenfranchised with it. And he in his head, he's like, I'm getting paid. All I got to do is make it through this last little bit. I don't know what he's thinking, but I would be disheartened.
Enough of a professional, and he's been around long enough that he can compartmentalize, right, and show up and do the job, right? Like that certainly would.
I hope so, right?
He's no Brock Purdy where he's like so young, that this is going to, whatever. I'm not picking on Brock Purdy, any young quarterback that, where you struggle and then you're going to get in your head about it. Right. But Vicky Nails, I mean, change what does not work, right? Like that feels so easy. Like it's so simple to say, but like this feels like the thing that we've been doing for like years now. Like it's not working. And yet we're going to continue to jam that shit down your throat over and over and over again and not. I don't understand that.
Well, to go off Vicky's point, Well, we kind of did change some stuff on Sunday because we only ran the ball 7 times with Warren.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's changed because it wasn't working, but we have no run game. And I mean, we're week to week with that shit. One minute, not I was about to say Najee, shout out. 1 minute we got Warren, running 12, 13, 14 times.
Yeah.
And he's getting first downs. The next week we're running 3 or 4 times, not working. Okay, we're just going to dump the pass off. Oh, that's not working. Okay, I guess we're going to use Gainwell, who, by the way, if there's anybody on the team this year who deserves to be on the team, it's Gainwell. Gainwell's playing better than
right.
Warren, I love you. I love your effort. But right now, Gainwell's outplaying you.
Oh, by far.
And sign that man to a future contract if he's only a 1 year, because that guy is balling out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see Aaron Rodgers wanting to use him more.
And he's not that old, but I do feel like he kind of falls into that thing where other fans feel like, got somebody who was like a little older or a little past his prime or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's 26, so he's not that old. But I mean, for running back, it starts to get, that's
running back. That's like almost
tear.
That's almost 40 for a running back.
Right. So Vicky says, so what's going on with the play calling? What do you think? What do you think is going on with the play calling?
Arthur Smith was never supposed to be a final choice for us. He was supposed to be you are better than Matt Canada, and that's it. And we were supposed to have moved on. I was supposed to be a 1 year thing and then use that 1 year to find someone else because he's
true. I hate that. Like, if that's true, I would have rather kept 2 interim people for a year than you bring somebody in and you overhaul everything. You make everybody learn all new playbook and everything else, and then move on again. That's craziness.
I love the duo. I was all for bringing that interim duo that we had at the end of the year after firing Matt Canada. And I don't know what happened, but Arthur Smith has proven he is not a fully competent NFL offensive coordinator. Yeah. He doesn't have the creativity, and that's the problem. So when he does,
you think he should be our interim head coach?
No,
fire Tomlin.
No,
and the big reason is when a play works, I guarantee you, 65% of the time, Arthur Smith does not know exactly why it worked. And I'm not kidding. I'm not I wish I was exaggerating, but when it works, he's like, okay, that worked. And he doesn't know what elements of it to build on for later, because Trey Essex said the play that we did at the end of with the calling from trips requires at least 6 or 7 different things throughout the game to have set it up. And that was the first time we ran that.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand earning things. The biggest thing the first thing I learned in football was that you earn your play action.
Yeah.
You don't just play action for the hell of it. And he doesn't understand that either. So the truth, I hate bringing it up because I don't have a solution, and I hate bringing up a problem without also offering a solution. But the answer to my mother's question is that he can't do play calling at the level that we need him to, which is an NFL level.
If that's really true, then he's got to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if it's really true that he can't do it at that level, that's the issue we have with Matt Canada, and you know what I mean. And then we do need to really cut him loose. If Tomlin doesn't feel confident in him, then he's got to go.
I think right now, if you fired Arthur Smith tonight and brought Zach Azani in, we would probably see the exact same amount of production.
Zach, you're being
I think so, because it's going to be the same thing we have with Matt Canada. I mean, they're just going to run that same offense. Do you know what I mean?
It's no difference.
It's just going to be a different person.
So let's save the money.
Speaking of Trey Essex, did you see him and Patrick Queen butting heads a little bit on Twitter?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, he posted something. I saw it briefly. He said, this was the only thing I saw. So if he said more, I didn't see it. But he said something about how he felt like Queen had kind of let the team down a little bit in the game. And he said, and I hope he, I have big faith in him coming here. And so I hope he turns it around and proves me wrong. Right. And then Queen, you're not going to call him out directly. So you're just going to say, like, people are going to be talking about me. And yet, how many Pro Bowls did you make? How many All Pros were you? You got carried off the bench by your teammates during your career. Woo. And Trey Essex responded, and he said, "Look, if Patrick Queen's talking about me, he said I didn't claim to do anything different. I never said I made Pro Bowls or anything else. You know what I mean?" He's like, "But it doesn't mean I'm wrong about my opinion on how you're performing this year."
Patrick Queen's part of the problem.
He is.
He can't tackle.
If he doesn't think he's part of the problem, then that's also part of the problem. Because to me, I don't know that there's very many people on this team right now that are blameless. Do you know what I mean? There's 100%, right? Like Zach Frazier. I mean,
so don't even start with Zach Frazier with that snap. Get out of here.
That snap was bad, but look, that is not the norm for him. We're not watching every game every week, and we've had bad centers lately where you're thinking, holy cow, this is terrible, right? So Gainwell's been really solid. I think Nick Herbig's been really solid. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, right? No one's perfect, but I feel like we've had some guys, Boz.
I would like to have a huge shout out to DK Metcalf, because George Pickens would have literally caught on fire by now. And instead, DK is out there saying, "No, we all deserve chances at the football. And I guarantee he's going home and just sitting there going, oh, and that's all, just that over and over."
What did I sign on for?
But you know what? If you signed up for this offense, you knew it was going to be. If you didn't, you should have. There you go. I could have told you that this was not the Cowboys offense. We don't have Dak Prescott. This is not the Rams offense. This is not the Chiefs offense, right? Like it's just not that offense. And if that's what you thought you were coming to, then you didn't watch any film.
Now, Relic, I am curious about something. So, because we're all, armchair quarterbacks who are great at it. So you get a call tomorrow morning and the Steeler front office brings you down and they say, "Okay, you have 2 things. We'll fix them before the end of the season." What 2 things would you ask them to start implementing? Because we're talking big picture. They say, "Get us to that finish line."
Can't come back. The roster's full.
There you go. Thank you.
Is this present? Like today, like
right now, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, you called in.
Well, not much you can do trade wise because everybody's trade market's gone. Yep. So, the first 2 things I would do is, I'm sorry, I would switch Calvin Austin. I've been a Calvin Austin lover. I love the dude's effort. He's one of my favorite players. But you are not a wide receiver 2. And we are not even committed to playing him as wide receiver 2.
Correct.
We're weird. It's weird. One week Roman gets more snaps, the next week. So it's just weird. So Calvin Austin, I'm sorry, you're moving to the 3rd slot.
Who's moving to 2?
We just signed whatever's Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen, you're going into wide receiver 2 spot. I don't give a shit. Yeah. That's move
smart.
Number 1.
I think it's fair.
It is.
Move number 1. Move number 2. Oh boy. You're firing what's his face? OC.
Terrell Austin?
OC.
Oh, Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith,
yep,
goodbye.
Straight up.
You suck. You cannot. Arthur Smith schemes like 10 good plays, and then it's what? Punt.
Yeah.
Punt.
Yep.
Punt. So, goodbye. And I don't care who calls plays after that, but someone stop doing the Matt Canada playbook, because that's what we've been looking at. Yes, Arthur Smith has us right now. I believe I just looked this up. We are 12th in scoring for the year. So our team 12th in scoring. Great. Love it.
Better than I thought, honestly.
Yeah. Why aren't we consistent? Aaron Rodgers. I guess this is a 3rd point that I can't change, but Aaron Rodgers, if you cannot take the snap under center, why are you on the field? You cannot hand the ball off, and you took a massive hit that could have derailed your final year. And if it is your final year, thank you. If it isn't, please leave, because nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
So
they brought a lot of people brought up very good points on social media. This is the first time I will say this is because I did say when the season began for Will Howard to play a game, it mean worst case scenarios would have happened. I think certain ones have occurred where I don't think we'd get a lot worse play if this is when you would want to test him out. But if you do that, that's the season. Will Howard goes in to start a game, that's the season. So as long as everyone knows that.
You have to also balance like Will Howard, like mental health with that, right? Like in physical health. Like,
that's a very good point.
Ready. Like he might be a professional athlete, right? But he was a 6th round draft pick or something. Yep. So is he really ready? Because we're seeing lots of other quarterbacks drafted ahead of him who aren't, right? So that would be my concern is that, if we really view him at all as like our future, is he ready? Because if you're just putting him in there to test the waters, is like, I don't know if that is really worth it.
To combat that, Leanne, I think Will Howard, he may have been a 6th round pick, but I have to question the Steelers scouting because the Steelers didn't even have Brock Purdy on their, top 15, top 20 quarterbacks.
Neither did anybody. He was Mr. Irrelevant. Nobody did. They Tom Brady'd him. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Just like they did Tom Brady, where everybody
literally everybody.
Although I will also argue, I think a lot of quarterbacks could do what Brock Purdy's doing because we've seen
Kyle,
it happen.
Will Howard, I don't know. His college tape was okay, impressive to me. I don't watch college football, so the highlights I saw, I'm like, I get what is that anime star eyes. I'm like, oh my god, we need that. But I don't know if you throw Will Howard in, you can't take him out.
See,
he's a rookie. Yeah. You're going to destroy his confidence. You can't take him out.
That's what I always worry about. So I agree with you and Zach. I think if you're putting him in, then you're saying we're done this season, and now we just want to give our kid some time to get his feet wet when it doesn't matter or whatever. So let's talk about Thielen real quick. Yeah. What do you guys think about that addition? Like everybody's bitched all year. Last year too, we need a wide receiver too. We need a wide receiver too. Thielen was unhappy. He wanted to be somewhere where he was going to get time to play. He will get time to play in Pittsburgh. But, we brought this up on this show before. My mom said this the other day. She thought the biggest issue with the team was that we don't have a wide receiver too. And I said, I agree it's an issue, but we're also not throwing the ball enough that there's targets for a wide receiver too. So do you think having him drastically changes that? Or do you think he's going to be out there splitting hairs with the other ones?
I think we're going to see Adam Thielen. It's a joke, but I think we're going to see Adam Thielen try to catch the train and not be able to catch the train. We signed Mike Williams last year.
Oh, Mike.
What he played one game and then he caught a touchdown. We're like, oh my God.
Yeah, that one incredible catch, and then they were like, psych, never using him again.
So, I mean, why did we sign? I love Adam Thielen. He's a great player, veteran wide receiver. Yeah. But dude, why'd you do it? What you wanted a contender. You wanted more playing time. You may not get playing time with Mike Tomlin because Mike Tomlin may take 2 or 3 weeks for you to come up to speed. And then guess what? It's the end of the season, no playoffs, and
Now I will say
this was a bonehead move by the Steelers, just in terms of the player. Now, if in terms of need, great, but we need to be able to facilitate that and work him into the offense next game. Not, we'll see how his development goes. Fuck that. Baker Mayfield came to the LA Rams and took over the game 2-3 years ago on literally the next day. So this is the NFL. Mm-hmm. Let's stop worrying about, are we coming up to speed? I'm sure Aaron Rodgers can find 2 or 3 plays to throw the ball to him to get a first down. Come on.
Well, you see it all the time in the NFL. You're watching games that are like, oh, this guy was on his couch yesterday or the practice squad or whatever. And then, now he's in the game and he's starting and he's doing really well. So I understand that there's a learning curve there with the playbook and all of those things, right? But certainly, I mean, Thielen's I think 35 years old. He's been in the league for like 11 years or something. He's been at a high level. So certainly he's played at a high enough level that you can give him a handful of plays or a, abbreviated playbook that he can learn pretty quickly or something that he can run with so he can be a part of this offense, because this to me feels like they're saying that they recognize there's a need and they're trying to address it, albeit a little bit late, but it only matters if you utilize them.
Yeah.
Yep. And the big thing with the moving train that I don't like, that I wish I would have looked a little deeper about it before, I could probably pick up this scheme. This is not a complex scheme. This is not a Ben Johnson, Andy Reid scheme. So I am just confused on the Roman Wilson part of it. If Adam Thielen needs time to catch up, what do they need time catching up on? And then I start to wonder if that is actually an indictment of the coaches and has nothing to do with the players' ability to catch up. And I'm starting to think that a little more. Because we all know when it comes to who gets on that football field, there's one person who decides that.
Yeah.
And so, but I like Adam Thielen, and just for a presence in the locker room, it's important. But also, Adam Thielen's watched us. Adam Thielen didn't just sign a random piece of paper. He knows the exact offense and the exact issues that he is coming onto this team to be a part of now.
Yeah.
And so, for whatever it is, I don't think we're going to have any issues with that. He knows what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he'll be fine. All right. Nathan says Steelers must cut down on defensive spending and provide roster balance. I think that's easy to say. It's harder to do, but how much do you guys think that this is an issue? Do you feel that like the inequity in our roster between the offense and the defense has created a significant issue? Because then I would also say our defense is also shitting the bed at times. So
it is. It's very similar to why our offense doesn't work, and a lot of times our defense struggles because, and I forget who said it, but on Twitter it said that Mike Tomlin is still a Hall of Fame coach, but in the early 2000s, and he hasn't moved past early 2000s football. Because the team he's building right now in the early 2000s would have been brilliant, like the exact but other teams are past us at this point.
Yeah.
And we are not. So that's the frustrating part.
I mean, this is a young man's league. They say it every week.
Sure is.
And he was that at one point. The youngest quarterback to coach to win a Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
I think, going to the defense spending, it wouldn't matter. I mean, it's Mike Tomlin. I hate to say that, but how many people have we brought in the last 6 years? How many quarterbacks have we had starting under center? It's all the same. Like, I think the message isn't getting heard anymore. It doesn't matter if you have 190 million into the defense or 190 million into the offense. The offense can't do anything. It wouldn't matter if we had Patrick Mahomes. You think Mike Tomlin's going to change the play calling to fit, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, or Drew Brees, or whoever under center? I mean, we've seen it. Statistically, someone on the offense under center should have had at least a 350-yard game by now, or more consistent. Statistically, we've had 7 quarterbacks. They can't be all bad.
Well, the way we scheme it up, the unfortunate thing is it is. And Mike Tomlin loves this kind of football. He loves it. And don't get me wrong, I do too, but it's not how you
football where like defense saves the day, and you know what I mean, all of those things. And I think that's great, but then defense can't score for you consistently, right? So you've got to so even if defense saves the day, you've got to find an offense that can do something with that. Like, how many times have we gotten turnovers and then we punt the ball?
Yeah.
I mean,
last game.
breaks, right? They're exhausted because then they're turned
Yep.
around and they're right back out on the field again. Do you know what I mean? And then everybody's mad at the defense for the gaffes that they make. But to me, we're also like some of those games start to look like this one did even in the second half, like the old Matt Canada days where the defense doesn't get to leave the field long enough to really
Yes.
recover. And then they're, so then they're tired and making mistakes and they're irritable and all of those things. And they've got to be frustrated at the offense.
Yeah. It just goes back to, I want to go back in time and just tell Mike Tomlin, I don't care what you want to do. You can't lose Najee. Najee's going to be an important part of this duo because we don't have that bruiser anymore.
Yeah.
And that the amount of things that we are missing, it's just the amount. But I will say this. We are like so close to saying, hey, 8-6 feels pretty good right now, or 6-8. It's a massive gap between those two. So this is such a roller coaster of a season.
Yeah, it really is. So we're going to play the Ravens this weekend. We face them. Both teams are 6-6. We're traveling to Baltimore for this game. We are tied, basically. I mean, they're like a 10th of a point ahead of us or something, right? In the division, technically be in first place, but we're both at 6-6. So this is like I said earlier to Zach's, like one of the most critical Ravens games we've had in a long time. Like the stakes are real. Like they're ascending. We're struggling. Like, are we going to be able to pull this out and win this game? And so my gut always says, like, when we lose a couple of games like we just did, we bounce back and we win when we shouldn't. And I feel like that should be the case this weekend. But then the back of my brain keeps going, we dropped 5 in a row last year, Leanne. That's not always the case.
For like,
how are you feeling about the Ravens game?
It all depends on how we start. We have to score on the first 2, maybe even 3 drives, because our offense gets stagnant quickly, and it gets predictable. Yeah. So we are a team built to go up on a team quickly and then to hold that while we run the ball afterwards. Any deviation from that, we have a 10% chance of winning. So that has to, and I understand Mike Tomlin has got out in most of these games and presented a team based on how he wants the game to go, and rather than what the reality is going to be. In this game, reality needs to have a say. Just does.
Folks, the season and the playoffs are on the line.
Yes.
This week.
I don't think that's dramatic at all. There's times I'd be like, you're being dramatic. I don't think that's dramatic at all.
That's the truth.
This is make or break time for the Steelers. You either pony up and win the game by any means necessary. Don't even care if it's ugly.
I agree.
Don't even care if it's 1 point ahead.
I'd almost like to see it be ugly because that means you're making adjustments, you're fighting, you're trying.
Give us something to give us hope for the rest of the season, because what do we have? 5 games left?
Yep. 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
We have 5 games. We are 6-6. You beat the Ravens, the whole season's open. Then you can afford to lose a game. You lose to the Ravens, you got to win out. You got to win out and then hope the Ravens lose just to get the divisional title.
To get a wild card spot, which is going to be a stretch. I mean, this is a tough AFC. I'll say this, that I think that if you can win this Ravens game, I think where things went wrong last year with the losses during that shitty, like 3 games in 5 days or 8 days or whatever it was at Christmas last year, and things kind of collapsed with that. I feel like if we could kind of say we had that kind of collapse happen the past couple of weeks, and this Ravens game is going to be like the linchpin that turns things around. Like, I think there's a chance that we could really salvage this season if we win that game. But if we lose that game, I worry that we're going to be like we were last year and just everybody's just going to give up.
Yeah, I'll be very honest. If we lose this game, the best thing that can happen for the team and the franchise is to lose the 4 after.
Might as well.
I mean, that's
I
just
hate
the
to
truth.
say that. I don't believe in
I
losing
agree.
the
I know. I'm not going to cheer or ever hope for them to lose, but there is a part of my brain that will start detaching from the other part and start looking at like the 5-year and 10-year plan that I've seen, because I don't like getting to that stage early in the season. And thanks to Mike Tomlin, we normally never do, because it always comes down to the last game. But if we come out with the same flat energy and blah effort that we had against the Bills,
right.
then I agree with Red. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna have seen enough to say, you know what, yeah, this team can bounce back and win it out. So
I mean, as it stands right now, even if we win and we do go to the playoffs, we are not beating the Lions. We are not beating Tampa Bay. We're not beating the Chargers. Bills we'd have to face. Eagles we'd probably have to face. 49ers eventually if we made it deep enough. It's just we're not beating those teams. And right now, I just looked it up. We hold the 14th spot in the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
Lose. Please. Lose. I hate saying that. Lose. Make change. Make this blow up. Like, come on. The Chiefs have the 13th pick right now. The Chiefs have
the Chiefs
pick.
could have a knockout draft if they had the 95th pick in every round somehow. They could. That's what they did.
So,
they draft like the Steelers of the 70s.
I don't want to hear a word from the locker room this week. I don't want no media. I don't want no one asking stupid ass questions.
No one better be talking trash.
No, I don't want to hear about Tomlin giving guys vet days off. Fuck that. Everybody get on the field, turn the music off, and figure out how you're going to win this game, because it's over. If you lose, we have a 21% chance to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
You lose, guess what? That goes down to what? 17, 16?
Yeah, something like that. So how do you think that they can protect? Like, do you think it's feasible for Rodgers to perform well in this game? I mean, the man's got 3, in case you're interested, my mother broke her wrist several years ago, and she can understand why Rodgers is not able to play professional football with his broken wrist, because surely that was her biggest issue. Anyways, so how, you got him out there. I mean, to me, he felt limited, right? Like, he's not able to take the snaps like that. So how do you go against, I mean, this is not the greatest Ravens defense ever. Like, this is not your typical Ravens defense. They're middle of the road, but they are certainly not bad. So how do we combat that with Aaron Rodgers? Because, I mean, can we all agree that Mason Rudolph is not the answer, right?
No.
I love Mason Rudolph. I love his story.
I love him.
I don't want to see him take another snap.
No, and I love the guy, but that doesn't mean I want you to be our quarterback.
No, he's a backup for a reason. The thing is, in my head, offensively, I don't think there's a great option. Yeah. There's the best option of the worst option. Do you play an injured now 2-year-old quarterback?
42.
Yeah. Or do you play Mason Rudolph, who proved in a very short span that he's still Mason Rudolph? Or do you put a rookie in that pretty much says that you can't go back? I don't know what they're going. So I'm glad I don't have to pick. I'm glad I don't, because
you have to go with Rodgers. I mean, look, he's your best shot, right? Like, it's not a great shot, but he's still your best shot. He's still the most talented quarterback on that roster. And you just have to hope that they're, with during the week of prep, they're able to see what went wrong in that last game and find a way to mitigate some of those factors.
There's an easy way to mitigate the Ravens defense, and that's to never play Jonnu Smith as a blocker again, because the man can't block.
Yes.
The man can't block some wind.
Woo, that was terrible.
To me, it's very easy. Do not play Jonnu Smith as blocker and take Pete. I'm sorry, Pete. You tried, but you got Rodgers blown the hell up. Move Darnell Washington over there. Move that big guy over there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll counter. We have seen he one-on-one off defensive linemen are miles better. He's big, and Trey Essex agreed that just because you can do it And James Harrison said it too. Doesn't mean we should, because
Just
I asked
Spencer,
my brother when he was on the show a bit ago talked about that. He's like, it would take him a couple plays to be able to figure out Darnell Washington, and then that's it. And so with it, Pete could be the best option right now. So
what about Spencer? Why aren't we playing? Why is Pete playing over Spencer Anderson?
Spencer Anderson has to be the mobile guy, the swing guy, the eligible guy. He's the guy that comes out to be eligible. So there's certain restrictions on after you're eligible, you can't be out. There's rules on why it makes it difficult for us to play him like a regular offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And so there's specific reasons for that.
Then I would scheme. I'm looking at the depth chart now. I would scheme Warren for every pass play to back up Pete. Every single play.
We should be doing that already. I hope so.
I mean, yes, but we're talking about Terrell Austin. He ain't the brightest crayon in the box here. We can't. Max Sharp is he's on IR. Broderick Jones ain't coming back, so
no. Right now the best options are as challenging as it might be directly in front of us. The guy who played before.
Wait, let me ask you this: would you sacrifice a wide receiver or tight end spot to always run 2 running backs, or have a running back and a fullback, and have Connor help out in the blocking just to get passes off?
It would become that's asking too much for Arthur Smith. I'm not being insulting. I'm saying that gets to a point where I'm thinking like old Green Bay Packers of like multiple tight ends and running backs in the back, and it's fun, but it takes a legitimate offensive mind in the NFL to do that. And right now, Arthur Smith is already in over his head. So we need to keep it as simple as humanly possible.
Over his head like that, I cannot say it enough. Like, he needs to go. Like, I mean,
I agree. I agree.
Sit here and speculate about that, right? As much as we want, but we're not there. But I mean, I have to say, like, that is really the conversations that are happening. You know, at the Steelers front offices. When he's got to go, you can't. That's a liability to the team if somebody isn't. I mean, that was what we did with Matt Canada for 2 years. Why are we doing it again?
I do not know. I really don't know. And it's everything. This just the scheme last week.
Better this year. We talked about this earlier this season. Even with some of the losses, it still felt like our offense was doing better. Like, it was more creative. It made more sense. You know what I mean? And all of those things. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard.
That's why I said I genuinely, and I have to say, for some reason, if Arthur Smith stumbles upon this, I'm not being insulting or mean or anything. It's just true. He doesn't fully understand why it was working.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't understand enough about it to build on it successfully.
Yeah.
So if it worked, all he knows is do it again.
Yeah.
And so it's really frustrating. And Leanne, I agree. If we woke up tomorrow and he was gone, the team would be better for it, simply because it would force some kind of change. But right now, I should not know better than him.
Well, Zach, to go off that, if this is about a 95% chance of happening, but if Arthur Smith goes to the Giants, which I think he's going to be interviewed at the end of the season. It's inevitable.
Why, but yes.
Great shit show. They'll hire him in a minute.
If he does and he leaves, I don't know what the Steelers fan base is expecting, because we're probably going to promote someone within. We're not even going to do interviews. We'll just promote.
Look, you be optimistic. It's a new era in Pittsburgh with Omar Khan. We didn't promote from within when we hired Arthur Smith. We went out there and interviewed people. We hadn't done that in a long time. So to me, I don't think that's a certainty.
Every year we're getting a little better at doing what didn't work.
We have anybody on the staff that's remotely ready.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
given how everything's played out.
No,
I'm surprised people still have their jobs.
Right.
Yep. And
I
if
would
you
rather
didn't,
like clean house on the offense and fire all of them, but like Zach Azani or something.
I
yeah,
mean,
no,
our coaching staff.
I wouldn't be upset about that. I like Zach Azani. I think he's done as good as can be humanly expected with the minimal amount he's had to work with on the Steelers.
Yeah, I feel like it's
very,
unfair
very
to focus
happy.
on him. So
Okay.
I feel like we're going to come back next week for the show, and we're going to be like really talking about like what, like I would have never believed, what is this, week 14, right? Or is this week 13?
This is week 14, I believe.
Week 14. So I would have never believed if you told me week 1 that week 14 we were going to really be like at this pivotal point in the team where you're like going to go, which fork in the road are you taking? Like the fork of losing this season and maybe even having Tomlin's first losing season and missing the playoffs and all of these things. Or are we going to be able to beat the Ravens? And there is some hope for this team yet. I mean, I feel like we're at that point. Like after the game was over, I was like, our season's done. Like we're done. This is it. We're done. I never liked that. And I'm still was like this. It just, look, it just is what it is, right? It just, we tried, it didn't work. It didn't happen. We're done. But as I've calmed down over the past couple of days, I keep thinking about this Ravens game and that is really going to be like this deciding factor for us.
Oh yeah. We haven't done predictions. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my head trying to think about that.
Yeah. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to ask you guys for any final thoughts you have as we wrap up, and then also your prediction for the Ravens game. I got Vicky's predictions, which is 21-20.
That's. You want to go first, Zach?
No, Relic, you go first. I'm curious to hear what you're thinking here.
I don't have any. I've checked out. I'm gonna be honest with you. This last game made me real mad. I like to come on here with you guys, and I'll joke around in the chat. We're going 36-0, but I'm gonna say 14-28 Ravens.
14-28 Ravens.
Okay.
I think we're taking the L.
Okay.
It just,
that's a rough
the
one.
way things are going. It always happens in December, and I'm saying this so I can be wrong.
Yeah.
Please be wrong.
I like that.
But if I can't sit up here,
you're going to come on every week and predict for us to lose.
You're setting yourself up for that.
I can't in good faith after watching what I just saw.
I believe it. I totally get it, because if I wasn't as weird superstitious as I already am, I'd pick against him too.
The problem is, if I went into a game believing that we were going to lose, I wouldn't be watching it, and that's the reason I want to go into every game. And truly, I don't care what game it is. I go into every game genuinely believing we're going to win this one, and if we win this one, it will be, like I said, because we jumped out to a really quick start and then scored like nothing afterwards. So I'll say we'll win 24-17. Jumping out to a 21-0 lead, and then holding on, only scoring 3 after.
Yes,
that's what I want.
24-17.
There'll be another field goal afterwards. Yep,
that's how you go, Zach. Make a statement. 21 points, nothing.
Okay. Yeah, this is a tough one. This is really tough. I'm going to say 21-17. Let's say 24-21. So I'm not doing the same score.
Okay.
Your mom. Steelers are going to pull it out. I'm channeling my inner Kyle Brandt. I believe it. I believe they're going to be fired up. I believe they're going to be raring to go. And I think that this is just going to really be what shows what this team is made of. Like, are they different than that group that closed out last year? Like, can they take this adversity, get their shit together, pull out a win against a team they hate? Or are they going to always be the team that collapses the minute anything goes wrong?
You're right. It's a defining game. Yeah. Genuinely. We've had a lot of big games, but this is a defining football game for us. And we'll get to come into in this and talk about it next week. And I'm genuinely nervous just thinking about it.
I know. You get the bubble guts already. One last thing before we go. I just wanted to send out some well wishes to Broderick Jones. That's really scary to hear anybody has a neck injury. So I really hope, that he is okay. I know fans have been frustrated with him and all those things, but I mean, this is a young man's life. And so all seriousness, hope that he is okay, makes a full recovery. I think that he's going to be able to break out some receipts at the end of this year when he's not playing and we see what we are missing. Do you know what I mean? Not that he's been great, but I think he's been steadily improving. So hopefully he is okay.
I agree.
If you've been here tonight with us participating, we really appreciate it. Relic, we appreciate you joining us. Please do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. It really does help us out. You can follow all of us on social media as well as the podcast page. If you're catching the show after the fact, do us a favor, drop us a comment with what you think is going on with this team, what you think we need to do to fix it, right? Other than the obvious fire Mike Tomlin. If you're coming at me with fire Mike Tomlin, let me know who you think is a reasonable replacement, where we're going to find this person, how is that going to change for the rest of this year. Want to hear all of that because it is never that simple. And drop us your score prediction. Let us know what you think will happen with the Steelers and Ravens game. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good one.
Leanne and Zach would like to thank you for tuning in to the Steel City Huddle podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.